Let's see. Refresh. Should be working now, guys. I have no idea why OBS... I've been tinkering with my Windows to see what apps or background thingies might interrupt my internet connection. I have no idea, but it's really frustrating because I'm not really... that's also why I really like to have a kind of like a PlayStation or Xbox console like a configuration that just works. Windows is updating and doing all kinds of things apparently in the background, and it messes my my OBS, which is it's really bad. And it fixed itself. Okay, Evanek. Well, I do not know. Perhaps OBS is going to crash even during this particular stream. And luckily, Windows does give a ping, kind of like an USB kind of ping, like ding-a-ling-ling. And that is the trigger of death for me to know that OBS has apparently crashed. Fingers crossed, though. I'm not hoping that Mrs. Uncertified have found a failure in X-Plane to fail OBS on me while we are flying. Anyways, so, as I was saying, from John Wayne to Van Nuys, with real world weather. I know that it was marginal VMC, so that's why it triggered me. I saw clear skies and thought, that's not current. So we actually have a lot of marginal VMC, as you can see in the LA area. Broken clouds and scattered clouds around 1,500 feet or so. So I'm hoping, but looking here outside of the window, I'm hoping that there is a chance for us to just depart John Wayne here under the cloud base and start our climb to cruising altitude to 8,500 feet outside of the John Wayne area, because we are going to fly that Hollywood VFR routing. Documents, there it is. The Hollywood Park route. Well, it's actually quite basic. We just fly a radial to Van Nuys. We also, our destination airport is Van Nuys, so that's even more. That's even better. As you can see on top, available altitudes 8,500 up to 9,500. Well, we're going to the west, so even numbered cruising altitude, so 8,500 is ours. As you can see, looking at the sectional here, that means that we will be in the Bravo, starting at 8,000 to 10,000 here, this first chunk. So that means that when we depart John Wayne, I cannot just steadily, mindlessly climb to 8,500, or you can even see this chunk at 7,000 even, because then I would bash into the Bravo without having any clearance. So I guess in the first leg here, when I go to Elbus fix, and even when I go to up to the northwest here, I first need to make sure that I have clearance to enter, fly into, climb into the Bravo. Before I actually do so. So that's a first concern, or something that I need to be very, very aware of. I don't need to chat specific or do any fancy ATC stuff here. The only requirement here is that I'll contact SoCal Approach. Well, I'm flying on flight following from John Wayne here, so I presume that after takeoff and I switch over to departure, or the tower controller is going to hand me over to departure, that departure in time will say, well, give me a heads up and say, well, you've got clearance to continue climbing. If not, I'm solely responsible as a pilot to make sure that I have clearance before I enter that Bravo, before I climb through 7,000 feet. So again, I just need to request that. I'm also going to include it in the flight following request as soon as we start up here, so the controller already knows. So I'm going to say, hey, fly following to 8,500 to Van Nuys using the Hollywood Park route. And that, I guess that would also trigger the controller, or prepare the controller to give me that clearance when I need it. But as happened to me before, also with the no, it was not with the Cat 10 rating, I believe, but it was some kind of other flight when I was flying the coastal route on my own, I believe, where I was doing all the right ATC stuff, but never did I hear the controller say anything like, Tim, you are now cleared to transition the Bravo, even though I was flying on all the radios and all the stuff. And the controller didn't even notice that she didn't give me that clearance. And eventually that's my fault and I was in violation. That's still a vivid memory and a mistake that I don't like to make again. So again, I need to hear explicitly by the controller, the so-called approach controller, Tim, you are cleared to enter that Bravo area. Finishy, OBS crash. Yeah, OBS is the software that I'm using to stream my my flights here, and it crashed just a minute ago, unfortunately. And I'm hoping that it's stable. But usually, once it starts to crash, it's a crash day, and OBS will quit on me, I guess, in 10 minutes or so, and I have no idea. I'm really using my computer as a console. I just have the same icons on my desktop. I click the same. I'm not doing anything. I even now disabled my Windows updates and all kinds of other stuff. So it's as stable as can be. It cannot do anything on its own. But well, apparently then it has to do with OBS that is unstable or somehow well, not working. I have no clue. Yeah, so the Hollywood route, Bravo clearance, that's the most important bit. We climb into that Bravo and we leave the Bravo there at the north. We can also use our GPS to make sure when we are clear of that Bravo. But I can remember with my Cat 11 rating that the controller also told me something about also needing to hear explicit clearance or instructions or something, or description or something that the controller says that I have now actually exited the Bravo before I can then start to do my descent or change my heading, I believe. So once I see on my GPS that I've actually crossed this Bravo section, I'm officially, for me, strictly, technically clear of the Bravo. I'm just VFR and I can do whatever, but still it's good to let the ADC controller know that I will now decide to descend or go to another direction. There's a chance that the controller says, well, just stay, just for a few moments, just stay on your heading on your present altitude because there is other traffic. So that's a second concern that I have on my mind. And that's kind of like it. Well, we're then flying at 8,500, so we're very, very high. We're overflying Van Nuys and also the Charlie of Burbank that tops at 4,800, as you can see. So that means that we cannot just circle down onto Van Nuys because then we would bash the Charlie of Burbank. So what we're going to do is fly a little bit more north and descend underneath that Charlie to then say to Van Nuys, hey, here we are, we'd like to go for a full stop. So that's the idea. Now what we could do if we would really fly Slant Alpha, we could use the Van Nuys VOR to make sure that we are at least 7 nautical miles away to the northwest of that VOR, so we know for sure that we are clear of the Charlie. Perhaps we can do that just to have fun with that. Otherwise I will just use the GPS. It's not a big one for me today. And that's going to be our flight. Well, marginal VMC, as you can see. Let's also brief the weather because it's just cool to do so, I think. Today's forecasts. What is the weather doing? Well, there's a front very, very high up north, as you can see, a cold front, but not a lot of other centered high pressure, low pressure areas around. Okay. Next one is the AirMats for 1500 Zulu. We're currently living at 1700, almost 1800 Zulu. So this is already a bit dated. There was an AirMat active, as you can see, typical for the Southern California area here to the south, especially here in San Diego. Perhaps also a bit there of John Wayne. Clouds. Well, you look outside, might still be a leftover of what's happening a few hours ago. 1800 Zulu. This is current, and as you can see, the IMC AirMed here has moved away onto over the ocean, so that's good. And for 2000 Zulu, that's for our during our flight, you can see that it will kind of stay there. So that's a good first sign that we've got good flying weather. Then we go to the significant weather chart, again to the right, 1800 Zulu. So that's current, as you can see, confirms what we just saw with the AirMets, IMC around the ocean. That's good. And those that dash line is a freezing level. Okay, so perhaps with the freezing charts we might see some other stuff. And again, we've got moist in the area. We got clouds, and couple that with freezing levels, freezing temperatures, and we might have icing, which is also very, very important to be considerate of. This is for 1200 Zulu, again dated, but this is for a little bit more time ahead. Well, again, you can look at these different charts to get an idea of how the weather develops. Not only have a snapshot of what the weather is doing or will be doing, but you can see how it develops, and it gives you a little bit more information. Satellite imagery. This is for 1700, left top corner, 1700 Zulu, so that's an hour old, kind of like, or 30 minutes old. As you can see, there are clouds, but those clouds are not that thick. And as you can see also, it is hanging stationary, kind of stationary around the ocean. And we know that it's actually going further back onto the ocean. Okay, then we got ceilings. This is for 2100 Zulu. That's, I would expect to see one at 1500 Zulu or so. But perhaps these charts do not work in that way. So this is already quite an outlook for the hours ahead. As you can see, ceilings. Okay, clouds are around the coast, over the ocean, but you can see there's also a chunk of cloud, a cloud layer that is still covering a little bit of John Wayne and perhaps also a little bit of Van Nuys. Barely. And that's a ceiling as forecasted of around 3,000 or 6,000. Okay, so that means that for our departure and our arrival bit specifically, we might need to avoid clouds. Now, as you can see, I'm flying at dusk here, and it will be night. Also, just to get a little bit more of an IMC-ish kind of setting going, and that makes it quite hard, obviously, to stay clear of clouds. Now, I don't know what the rule is. I know for daytime it's the 3512 rule, right? So 3 nautical miles of visibility at least, 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, and 2,000 feet laterally stay clear of clouds. I don't know what the rule is at night. So if anyone is a little bit interested or curious to find out what that rule is, let me know, drop it in chat, because first one, it's hard to spot clouds at night, and second, I believe there is a different rule there, that you even need to stay more away, more clear of clouds, but I don't know for sure. Anyways, we can expect some clouds, but during our en route cruising altitude, we are flying at 8,500, so we would most definitely overfly all of that weather. But anyways, we need to reach Van Nuys, and so we need to have some clear skies to descend through, right, as VFR pilots. And this is even a little bit further on in time, which is too far ahead. Okay, this is 06. Oh yeah, it just cycles. That's what's happening. Okay, okay. Precipitation forecast, none. That's good. Also for the time being. Nice. Visibility, also important. Second dimension to margin of EMC. You have clouds and you have visibility. Clouds were okay-ish, at least for our cruising and route leg. And as you can see, for visibility, 2100 Zulu, very good visibility, as you can see, for Southern California. 600 or 900, yeah. Winds, I only have a chart of 6,000 feet, which is fine. As you can see, winds are quite calm. And they are going all over the place. Perhaps we have a little bit of a, well, perhaps even a, it could be both a headwind or a tailwind. We'll have to see. ForeFlight gives us a, based on our flight routing, a more precise wind factor. Okay, but not really important dangerous stuff. Lowest freezing levels, well, 15,000 feet. So in our case, no, we don't have to be afraid of icing, and I guess the probability of icing here would be none. Yes, at least at 7,000 feet here. Good, and that completes our weather briefing. I like these charts. Never gets boring. Hey, Snipe, good to see you. Sorry I missed yesterday's stream, but I watched it last night and I see you missed me. Yes, sir. As always, Sniper, as always. The damn clock. The damn clock. And I mean, I've been saying this for so many streams, but it's really getting ridiculous, because after the 25th time that I'm saying that I'm forgetting about the clock, it should now actually be part of my routine. But and I guess that's also why an instructor or someone who just brings a little bit more force, or, well, not really anger, but a little bit more, well, motivational support into the cockpit will really help you to incorporate that stuff into your routines, because otherwise you have an annoyed instructor next to you. I've also been thinking about, because I was watching Marcus's stream the other day, and he has this wonderful, well, feature built into his streams where we as viewers can can evoke particular sound bits, audio bits in his stream that he captured from his own controlling of pilots saying weird stuff, or he is saying weird stuff, which is actually quite fun. And I was thinking, hey, that might also be a nice thing for my stream, perhaps. I don't know how he does that. For example, someone of you saying, or myself saying, use the damn clock, Tim. And so you guys can... yeah, exactly, Avnex. So you guys can evoke that sound bit while I'm flying, just to get that kind of like that instructor feel, at least in my personal experience while I'm flying. Actually, should have, perhaps Marcus should say it. We should ask Marcus to say to me, Tim, use the damn clock, because he has the voice that I really listen to. That guy, thank you for the follow. Thanks. So that's the idea. Perhaps something that I should think about. Where was I? So we checked the weather charts, and this is our route. And again, Mrs. Uncertified at the beginning before the stream, but when I set up my X-plane, has preset some failures at some time, or perhaps even none. But she has fiddled around, and she was so excited to do so. She needed to get away to go for her first aid training, but she really felt excited to set me up for some failures. So perhaps an instrument might fail, or a vacuum system, or something other Keith-like. It's going to be exciting. So guys, watch over my back, look at the instruments, help me to identify what instruments or systems might have failed, which is a great exercise. And I think I will do this even more often, also spontaneously, in future streams, because it has such an educational value, not just to preset failures, just to learn how to fly without an attitude indicator like I did in the previous stream, but also just to get so intimately familiar with your instruments and really get a scan going so you can spot failures as soon as they happen, which I think is really important. That we're going to experience today, most likely. So that's going to be exciting. Hey Keith, good to see you. Keith, I will silently fail a system and then identify it on stream, and it will feel great. I'll feel great about it. Yes, that's the growth mindset for you. Okay, so this is gonna be our flight, so not really that much of a VFR complex flight. Mainly, the primary focus is identifying those failures. We're flying a little bit at night to mimic a little bit more of an IMC-ish kind of like setting. As you can see, a lot of clouds, so I hope I can depart John Wayne here in VMC. Let's also have a look at the meters and TAFs, by the way. Meters, no winds, 9 statute miles of visibility, so good visibility, as we just saw with the weather charts as well. Overcast at 2,000, yeah. So I'm hoping that if I depart here, that there would be some room for us to climb through 8,500. We'll have to see. A little bit adventurous today. Because eventually I need, for the Hollywood Park route, I need to go to 8,500, and then I'm pretty sure that we'll overfly all of that marginal VMC stuff as we just saw with the weather, and then we need to descend near Van Nuys. And as you can see here, Van Nuys is reading VMC. So you can see local marginal VMC weather, night weather actually. No winds, 10 statute miles of visibility, fuse at 5,000. So that gives us a lot of room or space for us to avoid clouds. We're flying at night again. I don't know if I'm even able to spot clouds at night. We'll have to see. And if I look at the forecast, the TAFs, you can see that it will remain VMC. So I'm pretty sure that, especially when we overfly Van Nuys a little bit up to north and to then descend to traffic pattern altitude, we would have some space in terms of weather to make our destination airport. It's mostly the departure here. If we can get to 8,500. And while I'm saying that, we could also just be a little bit more proactive here, and rather than just going straight down southwest, fly to the northeast a bit. As you can see here, the weather is a little bit better. And we could ask for a northbound departure. And then go up to 8,500. We also have a little bit more time to get to 8,500. And then overfly John Wayne and then get to our Hollywood route. And perhaps even the Hollywood route would not be that much of an efficient route. There's also another one, I think the Coliseum route, which is a little bit more like this, which would then be a more efficient route. But I just like to fly each and every VFR route out there. So let's just stick to a Hollywood route. I don't really care. So what's going to be the decision? Are we going to fly southwest here, depart southwest from John Wayne, or are we going to fly a little bit more northeast? I would actually prefer... I mean, if you look outside, you might think that the weather or the ceiling actually stops over there, but I don't know whether that's actually the case or whether X-Plane is just not drawing clouds any further than that distance. Perhaps even this cloud border here is already far exceeding my Hollywood route turn. And I guess also on the other side it might be the case. Well, we can just pretend going outside. Yeah, it's all the way around. So I guess the same would apply, I guess, when I go to the north here. Let's just stick to our regular departure. Otherwise, we'll just stay at 2000 for a bit and then find our way up. Yeah, I think so. Evanek, it doesn't render clouds that far. All right, Keith. That's a lot of VFR flight planning during your IFR training. Have you considered moving the failure stuff until the point where you're actually flying under IFR in the system? Yeah, I planned that, Keith, as part of my curriculum or my program. But what I was noticing is in the previous streams, I have been flying or practicing instrument flying. So flying in IMC in the marginal VMC without the attitude indicator, without the heading indicator, which was really, really nice, very educational. But all the times with CTEF on an untowered airport. And after the 10th flight or so, after, well, I think 2 months of practicing, I was feeling a little bit out of touch with ADC. And I noticed that I, well, was a little bit more excited just to do a VFR flight. And then when I did one, I noticed how my flight skills or my ATC skills were already kind of leaving me there. And so my new kind of scheme to it, I think, is to alternate my IFR training with some VFR flights as well. And this time I'm just going to incorporate a little bit more partial instrument flying. So it's educational still, but that's the idea. Okay. No, I just have to be safe. There's no other reason to shortcut this. I will just fly based on the METARs. I will ask for a northeast departure, and then I'm going to circle up, overfly. But that's a little bit weird because you are requesting a particular direction of a departure. So then I need to explain to the controller that I'd like to go north and then go south again, which is a little bit silly to me. I will just go southwest. Yeah, because you see here, perhaps, at least at Catalina, the weather is okay. All right, that's what I'm going to do. Let's get flying. That is our briefing. So, anything else? No, I don't think so. As you can see, it's already getting nicely dark. External walk around we skipped or already did that. Again, looking forward to see what failures Mrs. has set me up for. Yikes. And again, guys, help me out. Try to spot those. Door closed. Alrighty. First, cold and dark check. My parking brakes are set. It's hard to see. Life vest fire extinguisher door is closed. Should also be locked, by the way. ELT set to auto. This is all up. You can also just put the flashlight on. The lever is up and my flaps are actually up. My throttle is working. My trim is working. And my fuel tanks can be set to both. In circuit breakers are nicely tucked in. Off, and my avionics are off as well. Good. Then my control surfaces to the right. That one goes down. That one goes up. To the left. That one goes down. That one goes up. Elevators up, down. Good. Trim is working too. That's my rudder and is working as well. Nice. Batteries on, got enough fuel there, that's good. Avionics, let's see if that's working. Again, guys, I've got the Reality XP GPS 530 and 430. I'm loving it. It also looks a little bit different, but now it's a fully featured, more realistic, well, addition to the cockpit, which is also in preparation of my next stage of training, IFR training, where I'd like to learn also how to fly with a GPS and with the autopilot as well. You know, I'm a slant alpha kind of guy, so I still prefer flying by hand and not with a GPS. But actually knowing how to fully utilize the GPS, especially as part of your IFR flight, is actually really, really important. So I will also dedicate a few streams to get to intimately know the GPS, the 530 and the 430, and to put in a flight plan. I have no idea how that works actually. Also to change up a flight plan on the go, also to switch from GPS flying to slant alpha flying on the go. So there's also a lot of exciting stuff ahead concerning the GPS. Anyways, they are lit up, so that's a good sign. Flaps down. They go down and they go down in sync. That's nice. Put them up again. Transponder mode C, 1200 VFR. We're going to set that soon. On. Looks good. That's fine, and everything looks good. Okay, avionics off. Let's start up the engines. Avionics are off. Yes. So throttle a bit in. Fuel tanks are set to both. Roger. Fuel pump on. 1, 2, 3. See a fuel flow there. That's good. Fuel pump off. Again, a little bit of throttle. And park brakes are set. Is anyone walking around? Nope. So clear prop. Mixture full in. 1200. There we go. Oil pressure is already in the green. Let's go to 1200 and check the, get to max RPM, peak RPM. There it is. And then reset. Generator on, continue rising the M-meter, that's good, and avionics on. Let's also turn on our nav lights because it's dark. Alrighty, there goes the GPS. And we do need to set some frequencies here. And I think there's, again, I also mentioned this in the previous stream. There are some pre-flight checks you also should do to make sure, to ensure that your GPS is actually working. For example, the database that is loaded in, if that is current. As you can see, nope. Which, well, again, is something important. Finish. Tim, is that the Reality XP? Yes, sir, it is. It is. And I'm loving it. So, on. Again, this, I don't know, I need to look up what this is for. I think this is some kind of a test that you need to do with your nav 1 to see if it has the same kind of deflection or the same kind of readout. I just press OK here. This is a self-test, and here we are. There's John Wayne. Same here. What's also nice is that now with both the 530 and the 430, these devices also are connected. So I can transfer flight plan. I believe I can transfer flight plans from one device to the other, and like it would in the real world, which is pretty cool. Anyways, I'm not going to put in a flight plan just yet, but I am going to put in frequencies, obviously. So first, we are at John Wayne. John Wayne! It's been a long time, John Wayne. We are currently parked over there. So I'm expecting Alpha Hotel Charlie at Kilo. Thanks for the follow. Julian, welcome aboard. That's what I'm expecting. And what are the frequencies? The frequencies are on top. Come to 126.0. It's now set. We can also already set the ADIS of Van Nuys. That is 127.55. That's good. Back to the plate. Ground. Well, we are at the east side, so 120.8. We don't need ground, we need clearance. 118.0. First clearance, then ground. Thanks for the follow, guys. You go. Thank you.
663 circle approach. No, I actually didn't.
Let's put that off for just a while. Where was I? Yeah, so clearance, ground, east, 120.8. 120.8, and we'll switch standby as we go, so we're always ahead of time, at least I hope. That's good, so that's COM radios. COM2 we set for ATIS, that's good as well. That means that now frequencies are up. Well, the only frequency that we need is the Van Nuys VOR, because we're flying that Hollywood Park route. And we just need to fly a radial of 140 inbound to, or that's actually an outbound radial. Radials are usually outbound, or are outbound. So the inverse of 140 would give us the heading towards Van Nuys, 113.1. So nav1. 113.1, he said. Switch. Okay. 113. Yeah, we can still set it to 14. Okay. So weird that now actually perhaps a system might have already failed me. I don't know what time Mrs. Uncertified said. It's weird. It's good. It also reminds me of a YouTube video, I think I mentioned this before, of a series called Dangerous Flights or Dangerous Pilots, or these are ferry pilots. It's a nice season actually that's, I think, still available on YouTube. It's been broadcasted on Discovery Channel or something like that, where these are really professional, really experienced pilots that are ferrying or flying a Cessna Skyhawk from Florida to the Netherlands for a buyer, right? So these are huge flights with a small GA aircraft or a Cirrus or, well, you name it, and these are quite adventurous guys. And one of those guys were obviously during the season they talk about their experience, and one of the guys said, as a pilot, when I start to fly, I always assume that my airplane tries to kill me, and that's my basic baseline mindset. So I'm constantly double checking because I know it tries. Well, I think that mindset is not really that romantic and does not really bring to me the thrill of flying, but I get the idea though. Finish. Have you watched the GPS course yet? No, not yet. Not yet. And I know that that content covers the test, Finish, but I just don't have the time yet. But I have planned to go through that content in preparation of my my GPS training. First partial instrument, and now failure identification training. Hopefully. So 113.1 is set, double checked, yes, and I set the OBS as well, and I already have a readout distance 45 nautical miles to Van Nuys. That makes sense though. I should also actually identify that VOR as part of my IFR training, and I don't know how to do that. I did it a while ago, I think, on stream, also by you guys help. I think it's just nav1, and I should pull a... Again, Van Nuys. Beep, 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 beep. Again. That's Van Nuys. Identified. Good. That's good. That's also a good habit to develop here. So we know it's Van Nuys. It also confirms with our DME here, and we set that radial. That's good as well. And that's pretty much it, I think. We depart. Get vectors to the south, hoping that the weather still allows us to climb through. We'll have to see. 8,500. We need explicit clearance by the controller to enter the Bravo. 8,500, just the radial. And once we're at Van Nuys, we just fly a little bit up north. We still can use Van Nuys there to make sure that we are north and up. We can also use the GPS for fun. Don't really care. We have some terrain though. And we descend outside of the Burbank Charlie to traffic pattern altitude, and we can prepare for that while we are en route. That's fine by me. I think we're ready to go. Do we have some timing for lags? Thank you, Snipe. Thank you. Thank you very much. Alright. Timing. We do have times, because ForeFlight is obviously always putting in times, I think. Why isn't it providing me with times yet? Because I've got an error? But that's because I think it doesn't know the Hollywood route and it thinks I'm just going through the Bravo. I don't know. Well, what we could do for the departure, that would be a first leg. We could... Let me see. I'd like to know when I should expect that radial 140 radio of Van Nuys. So when I'm flying down to the southwest, oh, this is a little bit hard to do. Could also use the VOR here, but let's just do it like this. It would take me around 9 minutes. It's not really true because now I'm using the starting point as the airport. We're not flying 100 knots ground speed at the airport, so it should be a little bit less. Let's say 7 minutes or so. I should see the needle move and turn to that 140. If it does not, then perhaps Mireia has failed my nav instrument that I didn't instruct or give her permission to do so. Only the primary instruments or the vacuum system or that kind of stuff. But still, that might be a first time. Then obviously with a nav log you would calculate all the lags and all the different times. Okay. Okay. So, here we are, scratch pad. Again, engine is already warming up, already in the green, that's good. Nav lights are on, everything is okay. Set our frequencies, navs, tool things. Yeah, I think we are ready. Oh, again, flying at night is so cool. Challenging though, but it looks so pretty. My gosh, thirsty. Alright, ATIS.
Orange County, John Wayne Information Papa. 200 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility 9. Sky conditions 2000 overcast, temperature 20, dew point 16. Altimeter 2997. Arriving runways 02 left, 02 right, departing runways 02 left, 02 right. Advise on initial contact. You have Papa.
We have Papa. Finish. Regarding identification, by the way, an important difference between VOR and NDB is with NDB you must constantly monitor the ident as there is no off flag for bad signal. Alright, interesting. Finish. Thanks for the share. Yeah, NDB flying is also part of my next stage of flying. Even though NDBs are actually phased out of the aviation system, it's still fun to fly those. I mean, we also have an ADF here on board, which is nice. Okay, we got Papa and 2,000 feet overcast, as the meter already tells us. So, perhaps for departure we need to stay a little bit low. I think John Wayne controllers also give us a ceiling that we cannot fly through yet, so stay below 2,400 or something like that. So that fits our departure here. So we're at the southeast ramp. We have Papa requesting flight following to Van Nuys at 8,500 through the via the Hollywood Park route. That's my request. Turn on COM 1. Let's have a listen. Don't step on anyone. I don't think so. John Wayne clearance. Good day. VFR request. Hotel Tango Mike. I should have said. It's strange that I'm not hearing anyone, by the way.
Skype 10 Echo contact Santa Monica Tower 120.1.
Let's
Calling
try.
with P5 request, go ahead.
Papa Hotel Tango, any Mike is a Cessna Skyhawk. Slant Alpha currently at the southeast ramp with information Papa. We're looking for flight following to Van Nuys at 8,500 via the Hollywood Park route. if workload permits.
Sky 3610 Echo, Santa Monica Tower, wind 230 at 7, runway 21, clear to land.
Or wasn't she referring to me? I don't know.
Thank you. Cirrus 212 says Santa Barbara Airport's off your 3 o'clock, 9.5 miles, report in sight. PHTIM, John Wayne clearance on departure, flight heading 150. Maintain VFRAD below 2,400 till advised. Departure frequency 128.1, squawk 6326.
After departure 150 on the heading, will stay at or below 2,400. Departure frequency is 128.1 and squawk is 6326 for Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
PHTIM, read back correct.
Alright. 150, that's okay.
25 and established the
Okay.
final
So,
Santa Barbara Tower.
6326 in the box, that's confirmed. 128.1 we're going to set as soon as we're at the runway. 2,400 is okay, and 150 is okay for me as well. Heading bug was set to 20. Is it 20 right or 210? Or left, I mean. 20 left. Alrighty. That's good as well. So we've got clearance. Now we can switch to ground. We got a standby in the free. So we can set that to the tower, and that will probably be 20 left. So that's going to be 119.9. Okay. Okay. Well. And again, we presume that the ground controller is a different controller, so we still mention that we are at a southeast ramp with Papa southbound departure. John Wayne ground, Skyhawk Papa Hotel Tango Mike on the southeast ramp with Papa southbound departure.
PHTIM, John Wayne ground, runway 20 left, taxiway Alpha, Hotel, Charlie, Kilo.
20 left via Alpha Hotel Charlie Kilo Papa Hotel Mike. Okay, that's as expected. So again, just to be clear, we're currently there. Yeah, it's hard to see now with my red marks here, but we're going to go through Alpha, then we make that sharp turn there, all the way down to Kilo. Okay, taxi lights on. Got some ground vehicles here. Parking brakes released, brake tests. Let's have a look whether we spot already some systems that are not working. This is a nice convoy. Okay, there they go. And make the turn. Heading indicator, slip indicator, everything is working. Attitude indicator is stable. Can we just quickly go through? Yeah, thank you. Okay, is there a line over here that we can... It's hard to see. Very hard to see. This is hotel. Here's the taxiway. Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Sioms. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Currently on Alpha.
Santa Barbara Tower. Cirrus 502125
Cirrus 5021.
Here's our turn.
Santa Barbara Tower. Wind calm. Runway 25, clear to land.
On hotel, as you can see. Sharp turn to the right here for Charlie. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Double check my altimeter here. I did set it. What's the airport elevation? It is 56. Looks good. Okay, should keep my RPMs at least at around the 900 or 1000. Otherwise, the reality expansion pack that I'm flying with for the Cessna Skyhawk, or my engine actually, will stutter, leading me to file my plugs a little bit more quicker. That's not good. You can hear now. Let's give a little bit more of a... exciting Some instrument or system will fail on me during my flight. What will it be, guys? Help me. Spot it. Vacuum system is low currently, but that's as expected with a low RPM. So when we're going to do the run up very, very soon, I'm expecting to see it go into the green. So a little bit more out of range. Have a better overview of what we're doing. Here's Kilo. Actually, there are designated run-up areas that I should actually also make use of, because we're not allowed to do a run-up here. There's also not a run-up area, but we're going to anyway. Engine is warm. Yes, it is. Mixture full in. 1800. There we go. No annunciator messages. Everything is very, very stable. That's good. Left mag. Yep, it's filed. Back to both.
10 Echo tag record via Bravo.
Right, it's filed. Back to both. Okay, so go to 2000 here. Not too much. And aggressively lean until RPM gets rough, and keep it there for 20 seconds to burn off that lead on the spark plugs. Okay, landing lights off, by the way, because there might be other aircraft taxiing towards us or landing, and it's actually quite distracting to see a taxi light here. So it's courteous to turn those off while we're here. As soon as we completed this check, I'm going to rehearse my departure and then say to the tower, we're ready to go. Hey dogs, good to see you, man. I'm doing great. Hope you're doing fine as well. Vega landing gear failure. No. She was only allowed to fiddle with the primary instruments and also the systems feeding into the primary systems. No, we don't have a retractable gear.
Goes to 2017, ready to taxi.
No, I think 20 seconds have passed. Full mixture. Back to 1800. Let's do the check again. Left mag. Looks good. It's good enough drop at least.
Coaster 2017, Los Angeles.
Right as well.
Runway 25 right. Taxi via.
Let's go idle.
Sierra Bravo.
To see if the engine doesn't quit. No annunciator messages. Yeah, still oil pressure. And one thing that I didn't check was my vacuum. 1800s. Yep, it's in the green. Good. And I don't see any vacuum readout on my annunciator panel, so that's good. So that's good too. But like to see it all today. Trim is set. Fuel tank set to both. Roger. Okay, so at Kilo we're ready to go. Switch to tower. We can set the departure frequency 128.1. We're gonna take off on 500 feet. We're gonna make that turn to 150, so a little bit of a left turn, and we stay below 2,400 until advised. But I also need to stay below 2,000 feet because of that overcast that we can hardly see. So I'm hoping that there would be some room there for us to climb through up to 8,500. But I need to have clearance from the so-called approach controller before I actually fly through the Bravo, because otherwise I'm in violation. I need to hear explicitly by the controller, you are clear to go. So that's on my mind. So I can climb up to 6,500-ish. Just fine until the 7,000 here comes, the Bravo, and then I'm going to request it, or hopefully the controller is a little bit more proactive and it will grant me already permission to go through the Bravo and the Hollywood. We set our VOR 113.1, double check. 113.1, that's set, and the OBS works as well. Okay, good. We're ready to go. And 119.9 is the tower, right? Yep. It does finish. It does look much better. John Wayne Tower, Sky Pop Hotel, Tango, and Mike is holding short 20 left at Kilo, ready for departure, southbound.
PHTIM, John Wayne Tower, wind variable at 3, runway 20 left at Kilo, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 left at Kilo, Pop Hotel, Tango, Mike. Okay, guys, here we go into the darkness. Again, mixture full in, landing lights on, strobe lights on. Fuel tanks, trim. No No one is on the other side, and no one is on the runway. Good. Nice and easy. Line up. There is no such thing as an emergency takeoff. Full power. A little bit of right rudders. Airspeed is alive. Engine is in the green except for the fuel flow. 50. 60 and rotate. It's so nice to fly at night unexplained. Look at those ground vehicles and stuff and the lights. It is amazing. However, somewhere in my aircraft, Mireille, or Mrs. Uncertified I should say, has tinkered with my Skyhawk. So let's be very, very aware here. Alright, there's my 400 or 500 mark. Let's go to 150. Hey Norbert, good to see you. A little bit more of a standard rate turn. $150. Roger. 2,000 feet is our own ceiling here. ATC gave us a limit of 2,400. So let's go to 2,000 or 1,500 because at 2,000 that's where the ceiling is. Now, what will we do if the ceiling is there and I cannot go up? I'm gonna make use of the advantages of a simulator and just go through it and have some IMC training, even though I'm not allowed to do so.
HTIM, your radar contact SoCal departure.
Over to departure, Papa tilting mic.
Skyhawk 663, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
119.6, Skyhawk 663.
Stay here at 1,500. SoCal approach, Skyhawk Papa Delta Tango, India mic, level 1,500 and 150 on the heading.
PHTIM, SoCal departure, radar contact, John 1 altimeter 2997.
97, Papa Delta mic. That's already set. Good. I didn't.
PHTIM, resume appropriate view for altitudes.
We resume on or appropriate VFR altitudes, Papa Delta mic. Okay, we're now flying southeast, but we're below 3,000, so that's good. So we can fly whatever altitude we like. I didn't hear a clearance.
Skyhawk 663
or clearance permission to fly our own heading and resume our own nav. So I am free now to climb. Clockety clock. Guys, we're gonna set those audio messages because obviously I'm focused on our screen and you guys are saying so many relevant stuff. Clockety clock. Damn it! Still scratching here the base of the cloud layer. Now, below those VFR altitudes, Flyboy, only apply when you're flying above 3,000 feet HL.
3005, runway 25 right, clip to go.
Still keep my landing.
TIM, resume appropriate view correction, resume on navigation.
Resume on nav, Papa Delta Mike, thanks. That's what I like to hear. Alright, see some traffic there to the right. Still, we are on flight following, so I would expect to hear some traffic alerts here. Also, my nice new GPS has traffic alerts on it, but I think I need to enable that. Alright, so next up is getting away from this cloud layer and climbing all the way up to 8,500, 6,500 and get permission to get into the Bravo. Yeah, so I think if I look at my GPS that she assigned me on that heading to get me out of the inner airspace of John Wayne, and now I'm in the outer ring, as you can see, and now I'm free to go. So that means also that I should not just fly back into that inner circle. Alright, still everything is looking okay. 240 corresponds with my compass. Yeah, I know, finish, but I'm not there yet. I know I can request IFR, but... speed is dropping on me. A little bit more power. Again, I see no other traffic here. So what we could do is keep flying to the southwest here, until we see that needle on the nav1 move. If still there would be overcast far out, looking outside of the window, I'm just gonna climb through it. And I guess then the lesson would be that I couldn't make the flight, obviously, in real world settings, but hey, I need to train. What I could have done is flown the other way around, go up north, change my route, use the Colosseum route to get to Van Nuys. I know. There's the coast. There is beautiful John Wayne in the distance. Look at that, guys. Explain. Beauty. Now there's also one other disadvantage or risk to flying so far out onto the ocean that I wouldn't do in real life, as I would not fly with this weather, is that in case of an engine out, I still like to be able to make land, right? To be able to ditch down on land and not in the water, especially not at night. So this is not at all a safe way to go about it. Oh, is it already clear sky, perhaps? I can already... It's a very thin layer. Let's just go... Let's go for it. Alright, so looking at my GPS now, this sector starts at 7,000. So we still have a lot of room to climb. Let's stick a little bit to the coast here. Oh, we are going...
2017 contact so good departure.
Wow! Guys, do you see? That's the strobe light. Wow, in the clouds. That's cool. Kind of like a... I don't know how it's called in English. Epilepsy kind of experience here. Subliminal image. Come on, keep that climb going. This is realistic. This is cool. I think it's realistic though. I don't know for sure, but... Alright, 5 minutes on the clock. We're not really flying the leg that I planned with the timing.
So got departure, leaving 5,000, turn left, direct clipper.
But this is good practice.
Climb and maintain flight level, correction, climb and maintain 15,000.
And again, what would happen if that system failed right now? Vacuum is still good. Still have a climb going.
Goes direct 20.
Heading indicator confirms my magnetic compass.
Direct clipper to join the departure.
This is so cool. Wow. Yeah, Brendan, I know, but I could just switch off the strobe lights, but I think this is so awesome. One thing though, I'm flying to the northwest. I would expect that the needle would be on the other side. Perhaps that's because I'm in the from position. So let's put the 140 at the bottom. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense to me. And let's also keep on heading, Tim. And there we are. Well, there's another layer coming. Prepare for some flashes. Turn off the strobes. No, I'm not going to turn off the strobes. We're almost there. There are the stars. Scratching the top here. I don't know if you guys can see. I guess the contrast is not as good as my screen here. But I can just see the stars just very slowly coming over the cowling here. Such a pretty sight. And there we are over the overcast. Totally illegal as VFR pilots though, but is it, Brendan? I don't know really how the clouds look like in DCS. And these are just default clouds here by Explain. Looking good so far. Again, vacuum is working. See, my attitude indicator and my turn indicator are in sync. 290. It's good. Still in the sector there. That sector to the left, I think that one started at, yeah, at 8,000. As you can see. Needle is slowly creeping in. Ah, really, Brennan? Well, hop over to Explain. And while you're at it, get yourself a subscription on PilotEdge and get some real flight training going. It's so much fun, even just to fly a plain old rusty Skyhawk. Needle is slowly creeping in. And obviously still, when my heading indicator would fail, I think there's not a readout of your altitude on the GPS, I think. It's a question for finish, I guess. But you can see how great an aid the GPS is, obviously, in case of a vacuum failure or that kind of stuff. You would be
2017, contact Los Angeles
silly not to fly with the GPS, especially in this area. Up we go. Now let's see what happens here. So we're still the Bravo class sector is on top of us right now. Starting at 8,000, I guess, in our sector 7,000 even. So I guess the
2017 Los Angeles Center climb maintain level 230.
Perhaps the controller would give us a heads up there and already give us clearance to get.
2017 Los Angeles Center. Climb and maintain, fly level 230.
Ah, Roger, Brennan. Roger. Alright, 6,500. Let's stick here because I don't like to climb through that 7,000 sector. But I do like to continue climbing to 8,500 like the Hollywood park route requires us to do, right? Let's fly a little bit to the west here and get to that sector where we can continue climb. Although this would be a VFR, proper VFR altitude to fly, by the way. 8,500 would be next if we fly west. So I will just fly this heading and I will probably cross my radial here. That doesn't really matter. So here we are, and then I can request to climb up. I guess I should request clearance here for the Hollywood route. Alright, let's do that. So, west, so far so good, we have all the time. I do like to be a little bit more trimmed here. Alright. Sokol approach, Skypop Hotel Tango Mike request.
PHTIM, go ahead.
We like to climb through up to 8,500 and transition to Bravo for the Hollywood Park route if that's possible.
PHTIM, remain outside Bravo airspace. Report VFAR 8,500 and expect to pick it up from the Queen Mary.
Roger that. So you like us to stay clear of the Bravo and then get up to 8,500 and then call you back for clearance to transition?
PHTIM, affirmative. Yeah, the Bravo transitions, you have to start the transition at the altitude. You can't climb through.
Roger that, understood. We'll call you back in just a second. Thanks. Okay.
No problem. PHTIM, contact Sokol approach 127.4, reaching 8,500.
127.4. Would you like to switch now or when we are at 8,500?
PHTIM, you can do it reaching the altitude.
Roger that, when we are at 8,500. Okay.
Coaster 2017, contact Los Angeles Center 133.
Let's stick at 6,500. I've been climbing for 200 feet. And as you can see, don't know if you guys already noticed, but I know what instrument failed. Let's see. Let's go a little bit here to the right. What instrument is not working, guys? What instrument is not working? That my Mrs. Uncertified Pilot set me up for. Damn you! Yes, Norbert, it's the heading indicator. So we need to catch a radial. Flying with my magnetic compass.
288, Los Angeles Center, go ahead.
All right. Yes, Flyboy, Delta. CDI? I don't think so. I guess this is the CDI? I think that's still working. Come on, Tim, stick it.
Coaster 2017, Los Angeles Center, from the maintain flight level 290.
All right, so
Douglas 11288, squawk 4123.
we are almost outside of the Bravo, or underneath the Bravo, or away from the Bravo, and I'm completely over the ocean at night, which is not good. So if I would know that this was actually a requirement that you should first be on that altitude before you request, I would have done that near the coast here. We could fly that 150 heading, would circle up there, and then did that request, because this time if I have an engine out, I have some altitude, but it's not great. It's not great at all. So we're outside.
Air 11288, your radar contact 28 miles west of
Let's
Imperial.
get that climb
VOR,
going.
And Imperial altimeter 2985, maintain appropriate view for altitude.
I meant that round thingy. Roger. Alright, let's make a slow right turn.
Skyx 663, fly heading 09er, contact SoCal approach 124.35.
Now it also makes sense that she likes us to switch over to 127.4 once we reach the altitude, because that's the frequency that is also indicated here. Oh no, it's not. I thought it was 128.1. Sorry. I thought that made sense, but apparently it doesn't. Alright, keep that climb going. Come on, keep that climb going, Tim. Now this exercise would be so much more difficult if I didn't have the GPS. And I can only rely on my magnetic compass here. Temperature is around freezing. We don't have any clouds here, so no need to turn on our pitot heats.
SoCal approach, Lindbergh altimeter 2998.
Bambino, good to see you. Is the map displayed on the G43 as standard feature? Nope. That is a Reality XP for you. And I think I can also make much smarter use of both of these GPSs by setting this display to something else than that one. Again, I did not have the time to study all of this stuff. Again, I'm flying with my little Cessna. Come on, climb, Tim. All the way over the ocean, which is not good at all. I thought I could climb into the Bravo, but that's... or perhaps also descend into the Bravo. But that's not how you should do things. Alright, as you can see, my magnetic compass is stuck there, which is a nice, very nice feature. See, now it tries to catch up again. And we need to fly a little bit more west, so let's turn, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. Keep turning. Thanks for the follow, Freak Super Tag. Welcome aboard, happy Monday. Alright, already passed. Oh, there we are. West, good. No, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I need to go east. Not west, east. Keep climbing, Tim, keep climbing. Oh, not too much. North or north. Hey! You fiddle around with my heading indicator, you damn Mrs. Uncertified. Mrs. Uncertified just returned home, and she's smiling and looking curious to see if it already happened. Yes, it did. But I need to focus, I need to focus, I need to focus. Let me see, northeasterly. Alright, 8,500. That looks good. We're flying towards the radial. That's good as well. So let's... we're here. We're still outside of the Bravo just yet. There goes our speed. Switch to 127.4. Come on, Tim. We're doing two things at the same time. So, here we are. Switch. SoCal approach, Skyhawk, Papa Hotel, Tango, Mike is now level 8,500. I'd like to request permission to fly the Hollywood Park route at 8,500 northbound.
PHCIM, SoCal approach, Catalina altimeter 3000. Proceed to the Queen Mary, join the Hollywood Parks route, cleared into Los Angeles Barbara airspace, and maintain VFR 8,500.
000 on the altimeter. We'll fly to the Queen Mary at 8,500 and pick up the Hollywood Park route. Prop tilting your mic. Okay, good. We're flying north, so we're gradually catching up on that needle, as you can see. That's good. Now, there's one other thing on my mind that I will tell you in just a second. So let's fly a little bit more northwesterly now. We need to go to the Queen Mary. And I presume that the radial will bring us right over the Queen Mary, but perhaps that's not the case, because she mentioned to go to the Queen Mary first. Now, I think the Queen Mary is over there, but I need to look that up on my map. Still trim a bit. All right, good. Map. Queen Mary. Hello? Queen Mary? I would expect to see a visual reference point of a Queen Mary here. Where's the Queen Mary, guys? Where is the Queen Mary? I've actually been to the Queen Mary in real life, so I should know. I think it's here. Ah, this is better. Queen's Gate, Queen Mary. Roger. Okay. I know. Looking at my GPS right now. Zoom a little bit more in. That looks more like the Queen Mary. Nose down, Tim. Stay at 8,500. It's a little bit too much nose down. As you can see, flying at night is pretty much like IMC flying. Okay, looks good. So as you can see, Queen Mary is there at Queen's Gate here to the right, over here. So you can see a little bit of a harbor thingy there. And I was looking at that harbor thingy here at my GPS that I'm now flying to. So long live the GPS. Happy GPS. It's a wonderful aid here. So that's what we are flying towards, and once we are there, then we're going to catch that radial, which is not far off of our current course, but it is now a little bit to our left. Okay, and we are flying on our magnetic compass. That's cool as well. Now, there's one other thing on my mind, and that is that I know Mrs. Uncertified a little bit longer than today. And when she just visited the cockpit here, with her jacket on, being excited, and just had a glance, an additional glance at my cockpit here, I just said to her, the heading indicator is not working. That suggests to me that she actually set additional failures. So the work has not done yet. I mean, obviously, and that's also in the real world, it might be quite tempting to think, oh, there's this one failure, that's it. And then you try to troubleshoot while actually another failure is happening, right? Also what I noticed is that the heading indicator was not working, and I didn't check whether the vacuum was also broken down, because perhaps the heading indicator is also connected to a vacuum pump, which also drives the attitude indicator, or could drive the attitude indicator, I think. We're now at Queen Mary. So let's pick up, fly a little bit more to the west here and pick up that radial. So that's I just saw, okay, something is not working. Oh, so it's a mechanical failure. And I didn't go through the whole pump system kind of way to double check whether other things might also be broken. Okay. A little bit more to the west here and picking up that needle. It's slowly creeping in. That's good. So let's be vigilant. And suddenly the weather has improved. Look at this. That's Torrance, I think. And that would be LAX in front of me. And that would be Santa Monica.
Yeah, you contact Circle Bridge 134.9er.
134.9er for Papa Delta Takeaway Mike.
Skyhawk 663, turn right, heading 230.
Socal approach, Skyhawk Papa Delta Takeaway Mike is level 8,500 on the Hollywood Park Route northbound.
PHTIM, Socal approach, Los Angeles, altimeter 2.97.
907, Papa Delta Takeaway Mike. Yeah, so she...
Costera 2017 to Sydney, the KPEC 5 arrival.
So one other thing is, a while back ago, she mentioned altimeter 00, right? Of
Costera 2017, just confirm you have
Catalina.
the most recent plate. It's the KPEC 5 now.
And I didn't set my altimeter to 00. It's not a big difference from 97 to 00, but I should have. All right, let's fly 320. On the compass.
Maintain 3,800.
$140. There's. My eye has fallen on the attitude or the airspeed indicator. Perhaps I'm just really stable air, but a little bit to the right here. Hey Donnie, good to see you. Welcome on the stream. And there is Van Nuys, I think, in the far distance. Yes. 27 nautical miles to go. Oh, that would be a nice glance down on LAX just in just a few minutes. Look at that. Good weather. So as you can see, based on our weather forecast, the weather has improved. We knew that the weather was okay, VMC, when we were up at 8,500. But now all of the VMC stuff, marginal VMC stuff, would be on the ocean, and I can see it. I don't know if you guys can with the bad contrast for Twitch or my OBS, but I can see a cloud layer hanging over the ocean, as the AirMed already told us it would be. Donnie, how do you move your camera? By turning your face? Yeah, it is something.
Skyhawk 663, you are a mile and a half from Vida.
Seems like magic.
250, maintain 3,800 till established localizer cleared, localized runway 27 approach.
I'm using a device called Track IR. You can see this clip on my cap.
Douglas 288, contact Socal approach 126.7.
And suddenly there's an overcast. Suddenly X-plane remembers, oh, there should be a marginal VMC all over the place.
2017, contact Los Angeles Center 134.65.
I'm using Check IR, and I've got there's a sensor also on my screen, and it reads out these 3 points, and yeah, it tracks my head movements, which is really, really handy. Also educational, I think, actually. For VFR flight, when you need to look outside, look over the dashboard and that stuff, to spot other aircraft, to spot your destination airport or any other landmark.
Coast Air 2017, contact Los Angeles Center 134.
Also, what I forgot was leaning, so I'm not really that conservative with my fuel, and also not kind to my spark plugs. EGT is now rising. Enriching my mixture just a bit. Well, perhaps my airspeed indicator is not working. It's hard to see in cruising with cruising speed here. Fly a little bit to the left here. Keep on track. So far, so good. But unfortunately, no.
Douglas 11288, contact SoCal Approach 126.
The weather has not cleared up that much that we can enjoy LAX. We're just flying over the soup.
Coast Air 2017.
You're welcome, Donnie.
Los Angeles Center, Las Vegas altimeter 29901.
A little bit to the left even. Okay.
SCAC 663, contact Limber Tower 118.3.
So this is the track all the way down to Van Nuys until we exit the Bravo here, and then we circle down to Van Nuys. So what we could do already, we could actually also do when we overfly Van Nuys, is to get the ATIS, to grab the ATIS of Van Nuys so we know what the weather is like. We can call up the tower controller and say, here we are with information X-ray or Zulu or you name it. Also, still my landing lights are on. They are off now.
Wind 2907, runway 27, clear to land.
So that means that I was so focused on my departure and my airspace, which is primary, obviously, it's quite important, that I forgot about my after takeoff or after departure or climb checks. Not a big thing. Landing lights on in such a congested airspace, but it's not necessary. My mixture is a little bit more important, also to be more conservative with my fuel, also to be more kind to my engine. Creeping back to my needle here. But I do like my GPS, my gosh. Fully featured.
1288, Los Angeles Center, how to read?
What other instrument or system might have failed? And I'm also still running my clock, which is totally nonsense. Because I don't know what I'm looking for. Obviously, we can just make up a elapsed time that makes sense to us. We are now 70 nautical miles, so I'm making a turn here. Go a little bit more north. Like so. Yep, it's better. Well, perhaps even a little bit more. Or 70, yeah, kind of like 70 nautical miles. So that means that we are around here, and with 100 knots ground speed, that would take us about 10 minutes and 1 gallon of fuel. Nicely trimmed. So far so good. In the darkness. See if we can optimize our EGT even a bit. Let's lean our mixture a bit. No, we're already rich. Already at peak. Ah, suddenly a view there. Let's have a quick look at LAX. Look at all those taxiways. What I also so much like about X-Plane, I don't know, I guess that's realistic, that the runways, you cannot see them, right? Well, the lights, the edge lights of the runways are actually directional. So that's why we don't see those, only if you are on approach.
Southwest 116, flight level 240.
Pretty much when you're on the approach. And there's Van Nuys in front of us. Our destination airports. Very pretty airport indeed. Now it's also quite easy now to fly the radial because we know that the Van Nuys VOR obviously is at Van Nuys. So in order to catch the needle, I need to steer a little bit more to the right of Van Nuys. And once it's there, I can make a turn to the left and fly 320. Sniper, loving the photorealistic scenery you have there, Tim. Yeah, isn't it amazing? You cannot see a thing. You cannot see a thing. But I do like the city lights, though. And I also like the experience flying at night brings. In terms also of practice, especially when there was an overcast, when you're in complete darkness and you need to rely on your instruments alone. That's good practice. You almost don't know how much you rely actually on your outside view. Well, especially as a VFR pilot, you're trained to rely on your outside view to have a sense of what you're doing, right? Your pitch and your turn, your banks, your banking. So when it is taken away from you as a VFR pilot, then yeah, your primary instruments become really, really important. So it's a good exercise, and it fits my training currently. Instrument-rated student pilots. All right, as you can see on my GPS, perhaps, we are nearing the edge of the Bravo. So perhaps once we exceed that edge, the approach controller might say, "Hey, Papa Tottingwijk, you're completed the Hollywood Park route. There you go. Do what you will."
Coast Air 2017, contact Las Vegas approach 125.9er.
And then we're going to overfly Van Nuys there.
PHTIM leaving Los Angeles Bravo airspace in half a mile. Resume navigation appropriate vehicle altitudes. Contact SoCal approach 134.2.
4.2. Leaving the Bravo airspace in a half a mile. We will resume ONAV and we will contact approach 134.2. Papa Tottingwijk.
Skyhawk 663 tag to park via Charlie and to pass for the I-8.
Okay, so just wait for now. Well, we're clear of the Bravo, as you can see here on the GPS, so that's good. That means that we can now switch to 134.2. And we can just keep flight following on. Why not? It's a congested airspace. We can also just cancel flight following. Socal approach, Sky Popper Delta Tango Mike is level 8,500.
Coast Air 2017 Las Vegas approach altimeter 29901. Expected visual approach runway 26 left after I Pumi, descend and maintain 8,000.
Reduce speed. And we start with our descent. Zoom on.
Southwest 16, correction, Southwest 116, contact Los Angeles Center 124.85.
We can descend all the way down to 4,800 until we bash that.
PHTIM, Socal approach, perfect altimeter 29905.
905, Papa Delta Mike. 905. 905. And we just start our descent. We start our descent. Again, main concern here is not to fly through this
116 Los Angeles Center,
Burbank Charlie
and cross Caddy at maintain 12,000.
Now there are two ways to avoid airspace in this case, laterally and vertically.
Douglas 11288. Heady read.
Now as you can see here on the GPS, we're currently overflying the Charlie still of Burbank. So my plan is just to already start our descent, not go lower than 4,800 of the Charlie.
2017 Las Vegas Airport.
Fly north here, descend on this side, and then make contact to Van Nuys and land. Right, nice descent going. Again, very little deflections of my airspeed indicator. So I would bet that the airspeed indicator is not working. And that the pitot tube might have become stuck. Now in that case, in my case here, we did have some clouds and some freezing levels.
512 Delta Lima, Camarillo ground, runway 26, taxi via Foxtrot Alpha.
So I would have turned on my pitot heat. Well, we could. Let's turn on the pitot heat and see if that changes. Perhaps there is some ice formed, but I wouldn't expect that to be because it never really frozen, but you never know. Obviously it's now warming up.
288, thank you. Contact Palm Springs Tower 119.7. Coast Air 27.
What do you mean, Havanek? The scratch pad.
6 left. Keep your base turn within 15 DME of Las Vegas VOR and 5 mile final. Contact Tower 119.9er.
Exactly. You cannot land with zero visibility. Even, well, not any pilot can land with zero visibility. Some pilots, those are called instrument-rated pilots. Those pilots are trained to fly pretty much relying on their instruments alone.
Douglas 11288, Palm Springs
they
Tower,
can depart and arrive at airports with very little visibility, but there still should be some visibility if you like to touch down on a runway. And that's something that I would like to learn as well. Hey, wind change. Again, not a lot of deflection on my airspeed indicator. I think my pitot tube is not working, or I've got a mechanical failure going on. Now, can I deduce what's going on there? Because if the pitot tube is actually not working, this is only static ports. Is there any other instrument that is working on the pitot tube? I guess not. It's only the airspeed indicator, isn't it? This is just how the difference in static. This is the static. This is vacuum.
512 Delta Lima, Camarillo Tower.
Electronic.
Course approved. Runway 26 clear for takeoff.
Or also, it's also a vacuum now. This is only DC, only electronic. Yeah. Obviously, if you like to identify. Well, you can identify a failed system. Next up is troubleshooting, and then you should really know what drives these instruments. So it could be a mechanical failure or a pitot tube failure. Oh, the scratch pad is so cluttered. Yeah, that's true, Havanek. Well, they added a feature actually now with a new 4-flight, and that is a eraser. As you can see on top, small icon. That's a great help. I've had times where I was actually I cleared my entire scratch pad, and at that moment knowing that I should actually have kept it. Now also now a undo button has been added, but I can remember a flight where I cleared my scratch pad and forgot about my latest my last frequency or something like that, and I was messed up. 6,000 feet still. We are, there's Van Nuys. Look at that. As you can see now, the light intensity changes. You can see these lights are not visible anymore, these edge lights. These are still visible. So pretty. Alright, down we go. Now 10 degrees outside. We have turned our pitot heat on
Hotel,
for some time. So pitot heat icing is not a problem.
288,
Turn that one off. Turn on my landing
right
lights. Still leaned. That's okay for now. Exactly. Evanek is totally right there.
Number 1774 Hotel, you're 555.
Okay, so ATIS, that's what we should listen to as well.
Orange County, John
No,
Wayne.
not Orange County. Switch. Oh yeah, there's not an ATIS, not a working ATIS for Van Nuys, at least in X-Plane. So we have to make up our own weather. Well, we've got Papa again, I don't care. Or we just can say we have the weather, it doesn't really matter. Then I also like to see the plate actually. We are reaching 4,800 and we are just clear of the Charlie, as you can see. So we can continue climbing here. Descending, I mean. At the same time, I can look up Van Nuys. Good. 16 right is usually the runway that we are assigned to. So from the top to the bottom, the big runway there. Tower frequency we can already preset. 119er. 0.3.
PhD, I am verify you have the nice weather.
We have the current weather information of Van Nuys,
Southwest 11, correction, Southwest
we pretended to have.
16. Contact Las Vegas approach 133.9er.
So that means that she's now proactive and she will now assign me to tower, I guess.
PHTAM, the airport's offshore, say between your 8 to 8:30, 5.5 miles reporting safe.
Airport inside, thanks for the heads up,
PHTAM, you can go ahead and start your turn to the airport. You probably expect a right downwind or base runway 16 right contact, Van Nuys Tower, 119.3, squawk VFR.
We'll squawk VFR and switch over the tower, and we'll expect that right base or downwind entry there. Thanks for the help, Papa Mike. Switch.
Southwest 116 Las Vegas approach.
Squawk VFR 1200.
5 arrival, expected approach.
There we go. Now let's descend further on. Landing lights are on, everything is on. We're fully lit up like a Christmas tree. Now it's, again, the heading indicator is so useful to, at least for me, to visualize my patterns. Now that it doesn't work, I need to base it on visuals.
Final runway 26 left.
Coast Air 2017 Las Vegas Tower, wind 160 at 8-16, runway 26 left, little end.
Still outside of the delta.
Runway 26, Coast Air 690.
As you can see, need to have established radio communications here before we enter the delta. Van Nuys Tower, Sky Pop Hotel, Tango, India Mike is a few miles, 5 miles west of the airport, inbound with the weather for a full stop.
PHTIM, Van Nuys Tower to right downwind, runway 16 right, report, turn to base.
Right downwind, 16 right, and report when we go to base. Mike. Okay, I was thinking about again what is our relative position from the field. Again, it's so easy to do that with the heading indicator, so I should have rehearsed it actually, and I could have looked at the GPS. So that's why I took a little bit more time there. Right downwind. So here we go. 16 right is kind of like south-ish. Oh, this is so difficult now to infer what heading I need to fly to go directly towards the field. Well, you should fly a 40-degree entry. I guess I could also do it on site rather than solely relying here on my instruments. Very nice. What's the traffic pattern altitude? It is 1800. Estimated it is, at least. It is for 16 right, it's 2000. Okay. Okay. 2000. There we go. Again, we're fully lit up. Mixture full in. It is so pretty. Look at these lights. Alright, and clearly we don't have an airspeed indicator working. Now what's difficult, the only difficulty, I mean, is obviously to infer your stall speed, but also your flap speed. I don't like to rip off my flaps with it too high of an airspeed, so I need to infer my speed based on my ground reference. I think we're already below 100.
Back to Camarillo.
Slower than 100 knots.
Get touch and go.
Going a little bit too slow, I think.
My 26 report 3 mile final, and what's your intentions after the touch and go?
And I can also see the
report 3 mile final and relay
runway there.
Close traffic.
This is cool. Thank you, Mrs. Uncertified.
Air 2 Delta Lima, roger. On the go, make a left push traffic, report midfield each time, runway 26.
Okay.
On the go, left traffic, report midfield, bearing 2 Delta
So,
Lima.
16. Southwest 16, are you?
And that means that the other way around should be 34, roger. So let's make that turn. I think I'm already at 70 knots or so.
Southwest 116.
That's how it feels like.
0 and to maintain 5,000.
So, we'll make the turn here. About 340. 340. Seems good to me. Seems also parallel, a little bit to the left here. Stay on altitude. I think I'm much too slow. That's interesting. Okay. Those are the lights guiding me in. So far so good. 340 on the magnetic compass. Again, the clock is running like crazy. Man. Yeah, I need to poke Marcus there with how he does those audio snippets, because I need those. For you guys to remind me of the clock and other stuff.
Air 2 Delta Lima, runway 26, clear touch and go.
Runway 26, clear touch and go, bearing 2 Delta Lima.
Alright, let's make that turn to base.
Southwest 116, Las Vegas Airport, slightly left to your 12 o'clock, 20 miles, report inside.
Van Nuys Tower, Sky Hotel Tango in Mike is turning base 16 right.
PHTIM, wind 140 at 8, runway 16 right, clear to land.
Clear land 16 right, Papa Delta Mike.
Southwest 116, you said my
second
audio
notch of
really
flaps.
faint, or the airport?
Feels right. I think I'm right with my speeds here.
No problem. The Las Vegas Airport, slightly left to your 12 o'clock, 17 miles, report inside.
Look at that airport, guys. Look at those taxi, green
Southwest
taxi
116, clear pitch approach, runway 26
lines.
left, 5 mile final contact tower, 119.
Wow. A little bit too slow, I think. On final, clear to land. Again, land lights are on, mixtures full in, parking brakes are released. And we have clearance to land. That's good. Gonna park here to the right. I'm familiar with this airport. Look at all those lights, also the city lights around. Wow. Now, again, speed is also very important for your round off and your flare. To see how much energy there's actually
tower, Southwest 116,
under your wing.
For the visual 26 left.
Southwest 116, Las Vegas Tower, wind 160 gust 16, runway 26.
So let's see if I can have a feel for what my speed is. I think I'm 65-ish. Now it's dropping. Now I'm 60, I think.
And I'm sorry, can you say the winds again for Southwest 116?
A little bit
no
more
problem.
nose up.
Wind 160 at 8, gust 16.
Thank you.
16 right. Hard to spot the distance between my airplane and the runway. I usually really crash onto... Oh, this is better. This is better. I could leave off the nose of the... Be more easy with my dropping the nose wheel there. But we made it. I'm happy. Whoa.
Give me our tower, bearing 2 Delta Lima, midfield down for 26.
There's my
Bearing 2
turn
Delta
off.
Lima, runway 26, clear for the option.
26 clear for the option, bearing 2 Delta Lima.
Bearing
Nice
2 Delta Lima,
and
if you're not
easy.
already, squawk altitude, please.
Roger, 2 Delta Lima.
Nice and easy. We are currently at Mike. Where's the hold short? Here it is. Threshold, I mean. Get our butts behind it. Alright, landing lights off, strobe lights off. Let's keep our taxi lights off for just a bit, so we don't annoy others. Let's set to 1000, keep that engine warm. And there we are. Plates. We have ground on 1 to 1.7. (1 to 1.7), but we stay on tower. And we are currently... Where were we? We're at Mike. I don't see a Mike here. Was it over there? Alright, so we're all the way over here. Ah, damn it. We're all the way up there. And so we can just park here at the tower. Okay. Van Nuys Tower, Skype Hotel takeaway. Mike is clear of 16 right at Mike, taxi to the tower.
PHT, I am taxi to Barker via Alpha, remain this frequency and have a great afternoon.
Via Alpha to the ramp, remain on this frequency. Thanks for the help today. Papa Hotel takeaway, Mike. Okay, parking brakes released. Taxi lights on. See if there's no traffic here to the right. Nope. Nice and easy. So nice how to see those lights really lighting up the hangars. Rather than those old times when you just see a light texture.
Cameo Tower, bearing 2 Delta Lima, midfield left down for 26.
It's so pretty, those lights in the far distance. Look at those. Beacon lights, hangars. Man, I enjoyed myself here. So, in review, Mrs. Uncertified set me up for a heading indicator fail and a airspeed indicator fail. Thank you, Mireya. Let's see where we can park here. I can see the tower there with the 2 red lights. See a citation there or something like a Learjet. Let's see if we can park on that side. Okay.
November 630 Alpha Juliet radio check.
You're 630 Alpha Juliet, number
Don't need
clearance
to hit
Papa 5.
hit that citation or Learjet with my left wing here. My car is already waiting. Thank you. Thank you. And turn around. For my next flight, a little bit more.
San Luis Tower 7274 Hotel. Radio check again, please.
Yeah, this is
You're
great.
727
Okay,
Hotel.
there we are. So
Papa
let's
5.
go to off.
I don't understand. When I call, I'm holding.
Cut off. Off. Batteries off. Taxi nav lights off. Parking brakes. Trim. Door open. Let's pause our track IR and release our seatbelts. And there we are. That was fun. Ah, Micro, you needed to go. I missed you there. Well, thank you for dropping by. Have a great day. So, that completes the flight, guys. Interesting. Interesting. And again, identifying failures is fun. I can immediately feel how practicing with flying on partial instruments, how much that works. Obviously, just in an isolated exercise. The only thing that I noticed, a couple of mess ups that I made, was first with the departure. I was so busy focusing on the departure that I forgot my climb checks. So mixture, landing lights off and that stuff, not big things, but still. It was good that I was quite aware of the Bravo airspace. That was first. Second, I didn't know that you, as a rule, should always establish yourself first on the cruising altitude of a particular VFR route. Thank you for the follow, Jack. Thanks. Outside of the Bravo, and not climb into a Bravo, or I guess also not descend into a Bravo. That wasn't that clear to me yet. I know that with the CAT ratings that's also the case, but I didn't generalize that to a general rule. So, okay, if you like to fly any kind of route, a VFR route there, and transition to Bravo, establish yourself on that altitude outside of the Bravo before you establish contact. Now, if you don't, this is what happens. Then the kind controller today instructs you just to get yourself in Echo airspace and establish yourself first on that cruising altitude, which worked in this case. But if I knew that that was the drill, I would not have flown that much towards Catalina over the ocean on only 6,500 feet or 7,500 feet. Because in case of an engine out, I would probably not make the nearest field. I would have stayed at John Wayne, go up there, and then made my request. And that's also, I took the risk to depart to the southwest and to see if the overcast was really a problem. And it was. And so I guess also in the real world I wouldn't even make this flight, but I was probably better off departing to the northeast, and then circle up to 8,500. Perhaps not use the Hollywood route at all, but then use the Coliseum route. But I did not do that in the at the last moment, because I found it a little bit weird to then go up to the northeast. So I would then say I would have a request with clearance a northeast departure. But then once I departed to the northeast, then return back and go for a southwest departure. I think that the controllers would not be happy with me doing that. Also, I would take a lot of more fuel there to make that turn. But hey, if the weather seems to be better on this side, so that would allow me a real proper way to climb all the way up to 8,500. So that was a consideration. Also, thanks Avanek. Thank you guys. Yeah, that's also a good one, Avanek. Better go too fast than to stall. That's true. I wasn't aware of that. I was just trying to nail that same speed, but yeah, better to be too fast. Yeah, that's correct. One thing that I did not do correct with the failure identification, which is on my mind for next flight, is once you see that a particular instrument is failed, to not just say, oh, apparently the heading indicator is not working, and then just troubleshoot. No, I wasn't really, that's the problem. I was not really troubleshooting. So saying, oh, the heading indicator is not working. And so I immediately, as with my exercise, I just immediately refocused. Okay, magnetic compass, GPS, and there we go. Right? But the proper procedure would be to see, obviously, if the vacuum system might also have failed. Perhaps there are also other instruments that might have failed, and do a proper troubleshooting scan to make sure that I correctly identified what was going wrong with my airplane. And that's what I didn't do. I didn't check the vacuum pump. I didn't check other instruments. So I did identify the instrument, but I didn't troubleshoot. And that's really something that I need to practice with my next flight. And I think Mireille would be so happy to set me up for some other failures again, or no failures at all. Either way, just to make me more anxious and prepared and focused on flying. And she will also need to be do some traffic pattern flying actually in preparation of her real-world introductory flight this weekend. Hopefully, if the weather is okay. Currently, the weather is not that good in the Netherlands, so fingers crossed. Okay, so that is my review. Let's disconnect from PilotEdge and have a quick look at my routes, also my landings. I have an idea. I don't think if I can now enable my failures and see what my speed actually was while I was making that landing. Or yeah, so the pilot airspeed indicator failed. So it was a mechanical failure. It was not the pitot tube that was blocked or done something weird. Let's keep that as always working. Perhaps it's part of the flight recording. I would expect so. We'll have to see. Recorder. Let's go a little bit back here. Oh yeah. No, it doesn't work still. Okay. Close the door for the aesthetics. Look at that picture. It's wonderful. Wow. The Papa Hotel Tango Mike, immersed in darkness, bringing light to Van Nuys. Okay, Control P. And another times Control P. And let's go up. Alrighty, so, yeah. In terms of altitude, I think at least stable. On the right altitude, that's good. Also, my distance was good, and as you can see, this is all the way down from John Wayne, flying that radial 140 outbound, but then inbound to Van Nuys, overflying the airport outside of the Charlie. Was aware of that, and all the way down. And here the approach controller already gave me a heads up. Thank you for the follow, Citanon Trend. Thank you for the follow. Welcome on board here. Gave me a heads up. Hey, you have the Van Nuys inside. Do you have the weather? Which is not a mistake on my end. I could have also, once I cleared, finished that Hollywood Park route, I could also, on my own accord, requested a switch over, or just cancelled my flight following and switch over to Van Nuys. It didn't really make that much sense. I guess the only thing you could say is if I was a little bit more early with my switch over to Van Nuys, I could already develop some situational awareness, because then on the frequency of the tower frequency of Van Nuys, I could hear whether there are other pilots in the pattern, and I could sequence or help sequence myself or prepare myself to get there. Instead of only contacting Van Nuys at the last instance. But that was all just fine, and well, I now totally forgot my landing. I think I'm already there. Perhaps not. No, just turning to final there. Wait. Let's have a look. If we can see in the darkness, usually it's the shadow of your aircraft really helps you to evaluate whether you made a proper landing, because you see the distance between your aircraft and the runway. And the landing lights, as soon as my nose goes up, don't lit up the runway here just in front of me, and we cannot see the main wheels touch. Good sound. Also in terms of the round off and the flare, well, there was some energy there, but I think it was spot on with the airspeed. Though I agree with Evanek that it's then in this case better to be more fast than too slow. And that was something that was not on my mind. I was just trying to make a proper landing. So it's better to have a little bit more energy under your wings. Extend your flare, extend your round out, and then allow yourself to land. So that's a good remark there. Okay. Nice pirouette there. I don't know what triggers that actually, but we made a pirouette anyway. Here we are. She pretty. Oh yeah. Nice, guys. Okie doke. Well, that completes my flight today. Again, I'm already noticing how my flight skills and my flight performance regains as I fly more regularly. I've flown yesterday. I need to fly more often this week, or every week actually, to keep in shape. It's kind of like a sports almost. If you stop training, yeah, your flight performance degrades. So it's good to see that that principle actually also applies to flying here. This time I've flown with partial instruments. Again, next time also I'd like to further practice with identifying failed systems while I'm flying. So hopefully Mrs. Uncertified will help me once more to set me up for those system failures. That's much fun. And then that completes my stage 1 of my training as my instrument rating training. And then we move on to procedures, finally, instrument procedures. So departures and arrivals. And most likely I will also chat with ATC then and request to do, while VFR, an instrument approach or a departure. I don't know how that works, but that's coming up very, very soon. Also, I need to study my GPS and fully utilize all of those features instead of just looking at the plain map. So that's what we're going to do very, very soon. But still, I like to be complete and careful and just very incremental in my training. That is just part of the spirit of the Uncertified. So that slow pace is really helping me. So I hope you guys enjoy that slow pace as well. So first, that identification of field systems and troubleshooting, because that's important stuff as well. We'll do that also in a much later stage, when we are in IFR actually, in an IFR flight plan, and then suddenly we got a vacuum system failure. What then, right? So this is just preliminary stuff that we will do more often, much more often in later streams. PilotEdge, something that's important too is to combine failures with instrument procedures is due course. Exactly. So that's planned as well. Snipe, thank you for the acknowledgement and thank you for being here as well and reminding me of the clock. As much as it's worth, I'm still forgetting the damn thing. I'm looking into how you guys can get some audio snippets going that remind me of the stuff that I'm missing out, because I'm so focused on flying that I don't have any space or time to just view the chat and see your important remarks. So I will look into that. Avanek, also thank you for joining. Micro I already mentioned, and all of you here, very, very much appreciated. Also thanks for all the follows, Citano Trent and Jack and G Popo and Freak. There's so many new followers. Very, very encouraging, guys, as always. Thank you for jumping aboard and following me in my stream here, my journey to become an instrument rated pilot in Flight Sim. So, having said that, looking forward already to the next stream. Keep a lookout on my Discord or my Twitter to see when, as soon as to keep posted on my upcoming flights. You can jump aboard and help me improve my flying and learn perhaps a bit as well on your own. As always, happy flights, blue skies, and hoping to see you very, very soon. Guys, bye. Palm Springs Tower, Skyline for Hotel Tango. Mike is 10 miles north of the airport, 3000. Information X-ray for a full stop. Landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
That's available, yes please.
Ever correction, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type VC12 slam call request clearance to Vegas S-file.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file, and I'll be forward standby. Pilots 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas Airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, join the Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000, expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure, departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Palace 4658 steered to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 370, 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3, initially climb 7,000, expect 40 after 5, departure 167, squawk 6316, Palace 465.
Palace 4658, readback is correct. Tango to Mike, taxi to the ramp via Echo, remain this frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency. Papa Delta Yankee Mike.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237 Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left traffic, left downwind runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind for 26 left and before your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 240, on the visual for 20 right, will be turning for a right base short.
United 242 John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170, level 3.
Clear to land, 20 right, United 242.
Palace Tower, United 260 Kilo, ILS 524.
Near 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 11. Number 237 Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
6 left, clear to land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs ground Palace 4658 east trend to weather, going for taxi.
Palace 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha, with you on the ILS.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear low approach, report to miss.
November 2903 Alpha, low approach, runway 9, next report is missed.
Palm Springs Tower, Palace 4658 ready to go 3 on right at Bravo.
What's the 30 on radio check?
Palace 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 3 on right, Palace 465.
Palomar Tower, Kilo 520 Kilo, vacated at T4.
Near 0 Yankee Kilo, roger, taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Via Alpha, Kilo place.
Palace 4658, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the G8 parking base.
We're 7 Charlie Alpha, remain on this frequency, taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
South ramp via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha.